sat on the bench for. I was in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. And I'ma lead them boys.
So, Mr. Khari Mincey.
Yes, sir.
It's obvious to everybody your favorite team is LSU, correct?
Yes, sir.
Why is LSU your favorite team?
This is really why. The first game I ever watched was, I'm not sure if it's 02 or 03, but it was the Kentucky versus LSU when LSU threw the bomb on them to win the game when they played against the Kentucky Wildcats. So I was captivated from there. I was just like, that's a team that I like. And then like I started growing with them more. I started watching them more. And then I got into them a lot more whenever Trent Holiday came. And I was a real big fan of his because he was a small guy and he could fly. So I just found a love for them as a young kid for them. So that's just kind of what led towards that.
So what's your most memorable game?
Most memorable game?
Yeah.
The Tyrann Mathieu year when we beat Alabama when we played them.
The game of the century, the 6-9 or something like that.
Yeah, the 6-9 game, because that was just a pure out defensive battle.
That was a great game.
Great game. It was just a whole bunch of missed field goals for Alabama that cost them that game, to be honest.
I see a lot of people saying, oh, that was a terrible game. And like, nah.
That's a real SEC game.
That's a real football game. If everybody's scoring points, that means nobody's playing defense. That means ain't nobody hitting. Why are we out here? It's like basketball. You know what I mean? I feel you on that. Of course, everybody knows my favorite team is University of Georgia. And it always has been. I can't really remember a time where I was like, oh, I think Georgia's my favorite team. Like, it's always been that way. My dad is a big Georgia fan. My granddad is a big Georgia fan. It's like a family thing with us. My most memorable game, it would have to be two. Just as far as the game itself, Georgia versus LSU, and I believe 2013, Zach Mettenberger was the quarterback at LSU.
That shootout?
And Aaron Murray was the quarterback. That was a great game. It was a shootout. Defenses were getting exposed at times, but it was a great game. I mean, it came all the way down to the last possession of the game.
Horrible play calling by LSU, those last 4 pass plays.
Great play calling by LSU. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? My boy Leonard Floyd from Dodge County made the sack to end the game. He made 2 of them back-to-back, matter of fact. And the other one would have to be, I actually went to a Georgia game when I was small. I had to be no older than maybe 5, 6, 7. And I had a Hines Ward playing card. And I believe Hines Ward signed my card. And I can't say definitively it was him. Because we were just leaning on the fence behind the players. Somebody grabbed my card and it came back autographed. But I'm going to always tell the story that it was Hines Ward that signed my card. So, yeah, man. I'm a big Georgia fan. That's my squad right now. I'm going to tell you another memorable game. It's Georgia and LSU. Tommy Davis hit Jacob Helston and made a fumble in Athens. That was the only fumble in his career. Them boys was hitting.
Jacob Helston was a man.
Oh, yeah. Like, I actually respect Jacob Helston. I actually like LSU. I mean, I'm not a fan of them, but I can respect them. You know what I mean? Because to me, I look at LSU as a program. They're a lot like Georgia. I mean, it's a lot of in-state players, and they fight hard for their team, man. Like, you got to respect that.
I wish we would fight hard for some quarterback recruits, though.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't got that. Y'all need to catch up.
That's the only thing we miss.
Hey, it's okay. You got to get outside of Louisiana for that. You know, y'all don't really throw the ball.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, y'all hand the ball off and eat crawfish down there. Yeah, I'm taking shots.
I bet you do.
All right, so we at the point now we don't reach over halfway in the season. You know, things are pretty much taking shape. So we're going to go conference by conference and look at the standings and, you know, just kind of give our thoughts on who we feel like is going to win the conference or what have you. So we're going to start with the ACC. In the ACC, Atlanta, you have Clemson at 7-0, and you have NC State that's 5-1, but Clemson just blew out NC State. So, of course, it looks as if Clemson will win the Atlantic Coastal Division. On the other side, however, you have Virginia Tech at 3-0 in the conference, Virginia at 3-1, Miami at 2-1, and Miami has a loss to Virginia already. And they they have to play Virginia Tech in the next 2 weeks. I believe it is. So you could potentially have a 3-way tie here in the next few weeks for that coastal crown. What do you think?
I really think Virginia Tech is just gonna take it out, to be honest, because I really do like them. But Virginia could make it interesting though.
Definitely. If I'm not mistaken, Virginia lost to Virginia Tech already. And if Miami beats Virginia Tech, that'll give them a 3-way tie. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and recheck it. But I believe that's what the situation is. But honestly, it don't matter who wins. I think Clemson's just much better than everybody else in the ACC.
By far.
That running game and that defensive line that they have, they're going to be hard to beat, man, for anybody in the ACC right now.
So we consensus on Clemson taking the ACC.
Definitely. Most definitely. The Big Ten.
Very interesting.
You know, they say the Big Ten was the best conference in football last year and this year. I have to disagree. But we're going to look at it. The Big Ten East, you have Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan State, all on one side. Right now, Michigan leads the division at 5-0. Ohio State is now 4-1 with a loss to Purdue. Get in the camera. A loss to Purdue.
Bad loss.
Penn State is 2-2 in the conference, and Michigan State is also 2-2 in the conference. So basically, if Michigan beats Ohio State, they win the East. If Ohio State beats Michigan, now you have a tie. And I'm going to say they win the East because I don't think they're going to lose to anybody else. It's going to really come down to that game as far as who's going to win the East.
I feel the same way. Deciding factor is the Michigan-Ohio State game.
Now, here's where the other part comes in. The Big Ten West, since y'all the best conference in football, Northwestern leads the Big Ten West at 4-1 in the conference, followed by Iowa at 3-1, Purdue at 3-1, Wisconsin at 3-1. The problem with that is Northwestern has 3 losses on the season. They're 4-3. Purdue is 4-3, Wisconsin 5-2. Iowa has the best record at 6-1, and nobody takes them seriously. But it's the best conference in football. I don't get it. Who do you think is going to come out of the West to challenge the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game?
I want to say Wisconsin, but that quarterback, goodness gracious. But I'm gonna stick with Wisconsin because I said at the beginning of the year that I like Wisconsin, so I'm gonna stick with it. But goodness, Jeff Hornibrook, you got to do something.
So I thought it was going to be Wisconsin as well because they have a great running game, and they do. Their defense is pretty good. I gotta go with Purdue, man, because Purdue just put their foot all in Ohio State, and until somebody beat them, because anybody can beat you out of those 4. They all about
They all have flaws.
And they about some ain't nobody really standing out. But I'm just go with Purdue just for the simple fact they just put their foot in Ohio State. Just saying. The Sun Belt Conference, what we talked about earlier, Georgia Southern, Troy, and App State are all 3-0 in the conference. Troy is 5-2, Southern and App State are both 6-1. And the other side of the conference, you have Louisiana Monroe leading with a 2-2 record in conference, followed by Arkansas State at 1-2. So clearly we have a one-sided conference here as well, with all the power being in the Group A. Never seen a conference called Group A and Group B, but they did that. So Group A, which is really the east of the conference, has all the power. Man, it's going to be a dogfight to the end of this one.
I think this game today is going to determine.
I do too, because I feel like whoever wins this game should also beat Troy. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Troy is a really good team, but I think whoever pulls out the game tonight has to be the favorite to win it all, to win the entire Sun Belt anyway, because this year the Sun Belt is actually having a conference championship game.
I was going to ask you, are they playing a conference championship?
Yeah, I just found it out last week. I just got it confirmed. But they are going to have a conference championship game. The site hasn't been determined yet. But, hey, first year, Hopefully it'll be the Eagles in the Pac-12 North is being led right now by Washington at 4-1, Stanford at 3-1, Washington State at 3-1, and Oregon just fell to 2-2. Now, even though I personally feel like Oregon may be the best team in the Pac-12 North, I have to say I gotta favor Washington to win it all because Oregon has the other loss.
I really feel like Stanford might really sneak their way up in there.
It's possible.
I really like them. I really do. But we'll have to see though. Washington, they have. I think they have the best chance. But Stanford is somebody to watch.
Definitely. And the Pac-12 South is being led right now by Utah, USC, who is 3-2, and Colorado at 2-2. The reason Utah was leading the conference because they just beat USC to move to 3-2 in the conference and overtake the title of leader in the Pac-12 South right now. But things can change. That all those teams there are pretty much even, right at the same. And I still have to favor Utah though, because they have the leg up on USC right now. But we'll see how it plays out. I personally feel like if Washington or Stanford wins out in the Pac-12 North, I think that'll be the team to win the conference championship game as well at the end of the year.
I think Utah is probably going to win on this side, but if USC can pull that upset of Ohio State, they just might can do it.
Maybe.
But out of the whole entire conference, I think I'm going to stay with Washington.
Yeah, me too. The Big 12. Okay, so for those people that don't know, because I didn't know until year before last, I think, maybe 2-3 years ago. You know the year when TCU and Baylor ended up tied? I didn't know till then, but the Big 12 only has 10 teams, so they can't have it. Well, they could, but they don't have a conference championship game. So what they do is, I'm lying. They are gonna have a conference championship game this year. We're gonna edit that out. You know, now I'm leaving it. But no, they're gonna have a Big 12 championship game. But they don't have divisions though. It's just 10 teams, and whoever the best two is gonna play again because they play a round robin schedule. So right now, you have Texas at 4-0 that's leading the conference. Then behind that, you have West Virginia, Oklahoma, and Texas Tech all at 3-1. Oklahoma has a loss to Texas already. West Virginia has a loss to Iowa State. And I believe Texas Tech has a loss to Oklahoma. So basically, you have a 3-team race for the number 2 spot to face Texas again at the end of the season. That's saying if Texas doesn't have a stumble before then. If Oklahoma can win that and get to that Big 12 championship game, I think Oklahoma beat Texas.
Oklahoma will beat Texas if they see him again.
Think they will?
I really do.
I think they will too. Now let's go to the less confusing conference, the SEC. You know, the best conference in football.
Agreed.
You know, but that's just my personal opinion.
Personal fact.
We're gonna look at the SEC West first. Alabama, of course, leads the SEC West with a record of 5-0 in the conference. LSU is second with a record of 4-1, and A&M with 3-1. So basically speaking, the SEC West will be decided next week when LSU hosts Alabama. I'm taking Alabama to beat LSU.
I expected as much from you.
Yeah, I'm a hater.
But you know, I'm an LSU fan. I'm a ride to the day I die.
I'm really not a hater though. It ain't even got nothing to do with LSU. I really want Georgia to beat Alabama. It's just a Georgia thing, man. Don't take it
I understand
personal.
you want a little redemption.
But either way it go, you know, I gotta get some get back from one of y'all. Either way.
If we get some good quarterback play from Joe Burrow, we'll win this SEC West.
The SEC East is a little more interesting than the West. You know, the West come down to one game. The East, you have 3 teams tied at 4-1 the conference, 6-1 overall. So I feel like the SEC East will be decided this week and next week. Excuse me. This week you have Georgia and Florida playing. If Georgia can beat Florida in Jacksonville, and they say it's a neutral site game, but it's in the state of Florida, just saying. But if you have Georgia beat Florida this week, They go to Kentucky next week. If they can also win that game, they pretty much win the SEC East. However, if Kentucky can win next week, they pretty much wrap it up as well because they've already beaten Florida. So the SEC East crown would be decided in these next two games. You know what I mean? If Kentucky can survive the trip to Missouri, it'll be decided in the next 2 weeks. Because after this, I don't think Georgia's going to lose to Auburn. I just don't. Auburn hasn't shown me anything that made me feel like they can beat them. So I feel like it comes down to this game and the next week game versus Kentucky, and I got to go with Georgia. Number one, I'm a Georgia fan, and number two, they just have a better team. They have a better overall team than Florida and Kentucky. I mean, both of them have their strengths and weaknesses, but Georgia is a better team.
Georgia is a better team overall than Florida and Kentucky, but I just love Kentucky a lot. I'm telling you, I'm really on the Benny Snell bandwagon right now.
I see that, man. I like Benny though.
I really like him, man.
Give me a T-shirt.
But
you know what I'm talking about? I like Benny.
Being realistic, I believe Georgia will win. But
I appreciate that realism.
But I would like to see Kentucky do something because I really am on this Benny Snell bandwagon.
I mean, they doing something. They're gonna go to a bowl game. You know, they're gonna be on prime time. They're
That's
gonna
not
get to
normal
beat
Kentucky
somebody.
style.
Exactly. They doing something. This is out of body for Kentucky right now, man. Great job, Kentucky.
Benny Snell said that's why he went to Kentucky was to make a change.
Yeah, he went to Kentucky. He can't go to Ohio State. Shots fired, all directions. So, with all that being said, who do you think will get in to the college football playoff? Only four teams can go. Who do you have going in?
The champion of the SEC is going, which I think is going to be LSU, and hoping is going to be LSU.
Okay.
So that's one.
That's one.
Huh. Who else do I really? I think Notre Dame's going to get in there. I just think like they really don't have too much competition to face, so I think that they're going to just slide in there.
That's two. So that means you're going to have two conferences left out.
Now, see, this is where it gets kind of hard at. I want to say Michigan gets in there, but they going to have to play. They really, really going to have to play.
I mean, I think if they win out, they'll get in.
If they win out, they getting in. That's no doubt. Because Alabama and LSU, whichever one loses is going to get knocked down and move them up. So I really find Michigan, if they play hard enough and they win out, they're going to make it in there. And then Clemson has been playing lights out, so I like Clemson in the ACC, so they should make it in the playoff.
Okay, so here's a problem with that, right? We're going to throw a monkey wrench in your picks. So Texas is there with one loss and a Big 12 champion. You will not put Texas in? Or if Oklahoma runs the table and then beats Texas in the Big 12 championship, you're not going to put Oklahoma in? You see what I mean?
I mean, that's what I say. It's a lot of stuff that can play into this, but this is
cool.
This is kind of what.
So let's be hypothetical, right? Let's do it this way. Let's say Washington runs the table, one loss, Pac-12 champion. Let's say Ohio State runs the table, they beat Michigan, one loss, Big 10 champion. Oklahoma runs the table, one loss, Big 12 champion. Then you got Clemson go undefeated, and you want LSU? Cool. LSU is a one-loss SEC champion, and you got Notre Dame undefeated. So Notre Dame and Clemson are in. Yeah. How do you pick those other two teams? You got to say the SEC in.
SEC's in because if LSU was to make it, they would have the most top 10 wins.
Facts.
On top of beating Alabama, which is looking like the best team in college football.
And you had to beat Georgia twice. So we're gonna say that. Okay, cool. So that means you got one spot. You got Ohio State, one loss conference champion. Washington, one loss conference champion. Oklahoma, one loss conference champion. Who you picking? How do you justify picking that team?
Ohio State gets stomped for the Purdue loss.
Okay. Okay, cool. So now you're down to Oklahoma and Washington. Oklahoma lost to Texas. Washington lost to Auburn.
I feel like they're gonna lead. They're gonna lead more towards Texas because because the loss to Auburn is a really bad. Cause look at how Auburn is playing. Auburn is playing trash. Like they're not making anything happen.
Right.
So I think more of them having the loss to bad teams will look, because the one loss that Texas does have isn't really a bad loss.
No, I mean, I don't know. If Texas is the one loss team from the Big 12, they lost to Maryland. That's a terrible loss.
Not as terrible as Auburn. And
Auburn was a top 10 team
during that time.
Maryland was never ranked.
I still feel that better. I still feel Maryland's better than Auburn.
I disagree with that. Auburn would beat Maryland. As bad as Auburn is playing, they'll beat Maryland by 2 touchdowns.
I don't like it.
I do. Because Maryland can't stop the run.
Stidham can't throw.
I said run. I ain't say nothing about Stidham throwing the ball.
I'm just saying.
You depend on Stidham to win the game. Yeah,
that's what they're going to do. They're going to sell out for the run and force them to throw.
All right, we're going to see. But Auburn defense is the truth, though. Maryland going to have a tough time scoring. We're going off on a tangent.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's going to be difficult to pick. You know what I mean? If Oklahoma was to win out, it'd be a better look for the Big 12 than Texas, because Texas has that loss to Maryland. And Oklahoma's only loss would be to Texas, and then they would have to beat Texas in the championship game. So it just looks better.
I like Kyler Murray, though.
I love Kyler Murray as a player.
I like him.
Lord have mercy. That boy, that is fire. But, you know, that's just our little prediction and thought process at this point in the season. We'll continue throughout the season and see how it progresses. You know what I mean? Anything you got to say?
Go Tigers.
Till next time, man. Go Dogs. I'm too old for this.
I don't talk to them. I don't talk to them boys that settle in benches for. I was in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. And